morning, good morning, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Let It Be Known. I'm your host, Stacey Brown.
Merriest holidays, everybody. I'm Neil Anderson, and we have some important headlines to get to this morning. One of which you may have missed last week, but it's very important. And a Netflix reboot gets the boot, and we'll tell you what that is a little bit later in
Wow.
the show.
I like that. A Netflix reboot gets the boot. That's a good one. But first, before we go any further, let's see what our producer has for us this morning.
Oh, excuse me. You know if they have any bigger sizes in this?
I have no idea how to work here.
Trying to see something. I'm trying to see something. Wait. I'm trying to see
Oh my
something.
God.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah. You like? Oh yeah. You speak so well. Where you from?
Hirsch.
Here, what? Chicago? No.
We're
Okay.
visiting from Florida.
I was about to say, yeah. How about like originally, like?
Chicago.
No, I'm talking about like originally.
Originally.
Yeah. Like,
Western.
no, I'm talking about like, you don't know, like where, like your ancestors, y'all not.
Oh. Germany and
Big-
Ireland.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you good. You good.
That would be.
Yeah. I love your hair too. Yeah.
Are you like somebody famous?
No, can I touch it? Your hair?
Sure.
Ooh. How did you get it like this? It's so
It's
bouncy.
It's the Irish side.
Yeah,
Irish side,
okay.
Yeah.
I
It
like
could be
it.
a little German too.
Okay.
It's cute. He should be in front of the camera as well.
Damn. Yeah, you want to touch that hair? It looks like a wig. Is that hair real? Is it real?
It's real.
Oh my God. Clock it.
24 hours.
I'm trying to see
It's
something.
real.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see
It's
something.
real.
I'm trying to see
No, for
something.
real.
Wait. I'm trying to see something. I'm
Your
trying to
hair
see
is
something. Wait.
unreal.
No, yeah, peace out. Thank you.
That you know that's exactly what they be doing to black folks, black women.
But
Right?
she embraced it. She was like, touch it, feel it, touch it. Do you feel the bleach? Do you feel the blonde?
The bleach, the blonde, but they definitely. Oh, that looks. Is that real hair or whatever? You so pretty, like that, like they're pets.
But they don't get, yeah, but they don't, they were oblivious. They didn't get it. They
Oh,
didn't.
of course they didn't get it. Of
But
course
I
they didn't
wanted
get it.
to that slide that Greer used to start the show that said the Justice Department. Yesterday I ran across the Atlantic. They had a headline that complements that in the most tragic way. The headline says the U.S. Justice Department and political systems have shown that they can't hold the president and his allies to account for trying to steal the 2020 election. And I just think that the Justice Department does not do anything but go by the rule of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the law. There is no Justice Department. It is the Trump Department. Okay. Just put up Trump there. That's where you really should put his name.
Yeah, absolutely. We we know that. I'm sorry. I know that's a serious topic, but then I just wanted to go back really quick to that opening video because one of the things Greer pointed out that I noticed, you speak so well, as if I mean, but again, he flipped the script on them, right?
Yeah, they had no clue.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, folks, with all that's going on, we do want to start with remembering a colleague, James Wright, a journalist for the Washington Informer and a former contributor at Let It Be Known, has passed away. We just learned it yesterday. We don't know exactly what day he passed away, but the Washington Informer's obituary just says November 9th. When he was born, 1963 to November of 2025. He was found yesterday in his apartment after missing several deadlines, which was very uncharacteristic of James. And the editor, Misha Green, asked that a wellness check be done on him. And certainly, lo and behold, they find that James had passed away. He worked for the Informer for a number of years. He also worked for the Washington Afro newspaper. He was a city editor there, as well as a reporter. He also was a freelance writer. He used to write for the Washington Post and was a copy editor at the Washington Post as well. James also held a council seat in Seat Pleasant, Maryland, for 2 years. His term ended, I believe, early last year, but he was proud of that council position that he was appointed to a couple of years ago. Certainly, somebody who the Informer will miss, and the Black press will miss. So James Wright, at 63 years old, gone too soon.
Yeah, you should definitely check on your loved ones. And thank God Misha did the wellness check, but that's just a reminder that we have to take care of our village.
Yeah.
That he was a part of the Washington Informer Village, and somebody noticed that he was missing. And so it's just really important that we check on our neighbors, when we check on our loved ones, to make sure, even if they're distant, just to make sure, especially, and they're single, right? And they're by
Hmm.
themselves, we got to make
Exactly.
sure that they're okay.
Yeah, and I will say, Misha is one of those. Even though she's a lot younger than James, she's a lot younger than myself. But she's one of the motherly editors, who
Hmm.
it's not just the job. It's she cares about her reporters, and she noticed, and she let the publisher Denise Roloff Barnes know that, hey, listen, for some odd reason James is not responding to any text or phone calls. We probably should check on him. And so, one thing led to what the discovery was. But that's showing the care that you generally don't get. You work with people, and it's just that you work with them, and
Right.
I don't have any qualms with that. But she really, she really has this parental type thoughts when it comes to people that work with and under her as well. So that's Misha Green for you.
Yeah, yeah. That's village. That's village mentality. Takes a
Yeah,
village.
it
And
does.
so does he, in prayers to his family, does he have family? Did you know if he had family?
So he does have family. I don't know his family. Yeah, I've known James. It's funny to say this. I've known him since 2013, and I have never met any of James was like a loner.
Hmm.
We used to joke that he's somewhere in the basement doing, creating something down there that we
Hmm.
probably don't want to know about. And
Uh-oh.
he was a loner, and I got texts and calls yesterday. Austin and Greer and most of our viewers remember Barrington was calling and texting yesterday about James. Austin, I mean not Austin, but Barrington. One of the things he says, I used to always get on that guy's case, always get on James's case, and he felt bad, like we all do. That 63 years old. That's just too too soon, Niel.
Mm, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So prayers to his family. But guess what? His writings will live forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're documented. And his contributions to the Black press will remain, everlasting.
And that is, one of the 12 billion reasons why it's so important that we do protect our history. We do document our history that the Black press has been doing for 198 plus years now. And with the threat of erasing our history, even he may not have meant much to, other people, but certainly in the community. If, for instance, in Washington, D.C., even the council members was tweeting out condolences yesterday about James, including Kenya McDuffie, who odds on favorite to be the next mayor of Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
So he left. James did leave an impression on people throughout the District of Columbia.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, um, also, as Greer noted before we went on the air, with the ruling that came down in Washington. Speaking of the District of Columbia, the judge ruling that came down on immigration arrest. A federal judge has sharply curtailed Trump's ability to carry out immigration arrests in the nation's capital, the judge issued a preliminary injunction that prohibits agents from detaining people without warrants unless officials can show probable cause that a person is both in the country illegally and likely to escape before a warrant is obtained. The ruling was done by U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell. And so that puts a little bit of a cramp in this inhumane, crazy treatment of people.
Yeah, I mean, good. I talked about, the Trump justice system, but there are some judges that are holding the line, which is very important. And that ruling, may give other leaders, not just judges, but maybe mayors, police chiefs, the courage to do the
Hmm.
right thing. We hope. We hope.
Yeah, and we know that down in New Orleans and throughout Louisiana, they're preparing for the National Guard there, and that's good. That is that's a mess, of course. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you have Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, you have Chicago, you have LA. But I think what we're also seeing too is, it's a headline and they cause terror. I'm going to say it every day. White men are the number one terrorist threat in this country. And that's what they do. They have this headline. They're in Memphis, Tennessee. Everybody gets all upset. And then maybe a few weeks later, you really don't even see them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's so like that's what you call terror, terrorism. Just the mental capacity, the mental thought of it, the physical impact of it. And then it kind of just weeds out because you really don't hear about ice raids here in LA anymore. If you think about the headlines in Chicago, they've kind of died down. Think about what's happened in Memphis, it's kind of died down. Now, the headlines are in New Orleans. It's
Yeah.
just terror that they're inflicting, and they've learned it from their ancestors.
Well, as Dr. Marilyn says, and I know you'll appreciate this, Niel, where are the Epstein files?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he signed for them to be released. Where are they?
Where are they? Yeah, that's the $100 million question.
Where are the Epstein files?
Congressman Ilhan Omar has struck back against Donald Trump after he criticized her and renewed his racist attacks on the Somali community in Minnesota. During a cabinet meeting yesterday, Trump embarked on a racist tirade, describing Congresswoman Omar and other Somali immigrants as, quote, garbage, and calling for them to leave the U.S. And Omar says, she said, hey, his obsession with me is so creepy. She says, I hope he gets the help he desperately needs. Um, Trump said we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. He says these aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go. Come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. This guy, this guy is the president of the United States.
Yeah, she should have said your mama and your trashy ass wife too. That's what she should have said. That's what I would have said. Your mama and your
Your
trashy ass
mama.
wife. And your trashy ass wife. Go take that to them.
He should have said your mama got
No, your mama and your trashy ass wife. That's what she should have said to him. But you said yesterday he was half asleep for that cabinet meeting. He nodded more than he spoke. And all I kept
Yeah.
thinking was the nerve of him to call Sleepy Time Joe. He was knocked out, okay?
let me
This,
tell you
this, the whole
just a little.
time.
I'm, let me tell you a little bit about Ilhan Omar. She is a former child refugee who fled Somalia's long-running civil war. She is considered the first Somali American to serve in the U.S. Congress. She represents a district in Minnesota that contains one of the largest Somali communities in the country. And while Somalis in the U.S. do suffer from high unemployment and poverty rates, which is akin to other refugee groups, a 2021 Minnesota Chamber of Commerce report showed you that the community makes such great contributions and that they are trending towards upward mobility. So these are mostly people, just about all of them had to flee. They were refugees and they get nothing um, free, and they struggle, but they struggle together, and they contribute mightily to their community.
It what sounds like Latinos to me. It's just a minority, and that was on the top of his mind yesterday. He might wake up today and want to, go after Burger King because they're McDonald's competitors.
Because they're the competitors, right?
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like today, it's Omar and Somalians. Tomorrow it's Latinos in New Orleans. There's no rhyme or reason to his madness when he's awake.
When he's awake. It's a problem. I mean, we saw Marco Rubio on video was the other day or yesterday whatever it was, talking to him, and he's like comatose.
Look at him. There he is. He just,
He didn't get his medicine. Somebody should have gave him his medicine. Somebody should have, when they took him out of the nursing home to bring him to the White House, they should have gave him his medicine. Come on, y'all failing this president.
it's just ridiculous. I mean, yesterday I was just, at least once a week I try to just watch the news cycle and see where it's going. Yeah, his mama and his trashy ass wife. Since he wants to talk about her like that,
that was hilarious. Yeah. I can't contain
but I'm
it.
so serious. His mama and his trashy ass wife. Okay, if you want to say that about the distinguished and reputable Rep Omar, then your family. You want to talk about her family, her people. Let's talk about you and your people. Okay.
Yeah, it's always black women though, and on the serious note of that, it's always black women, and he's had this history of just trashing anybody, any woman that's black, and that's why it's really surprising when we see black folks.
Just look at
A
him.
handful of black folks who say, "Oh, we support him." It's surprising. So, man, it's sad that this is what the world sees now. There was a time where they say, the world looked to America, as this place where, it stood for something. It was serious. It was this whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and while he's talking about Rep Omar, meanwhile, his son-in-law is taking meetings on our behalf with Putin with
Mm.
no title. He's not a part of the Trump administration. He's in the private sector, becoming one of the world's richest real estate tycoons. And we should be talking about, why is Jared Kushner at the table eating caviar with Putin? What's that all about?
Mm. Wow. Yeah. Net said it's embarrassing. Um,
Sticks and stones may break our bones. You can call her name Sticks and Stones. I call your wife and your mama trashy. You call her. But at the end of the day, what are you doing over there? What's your son-in-law doing over there? There is no cabinet member. There is nobody from his administration, advisor. There is nobody from the U.S. government that represents us sitting at that table talking about they are brokering a peace treaty. How does that happen?
this is a man, and if you close your eyes, racist America will think that you're talking about somebody who's black. But this is a man who has three baby mamas, several kids with three baby mamas. A convicted felon 34
Near,
times over.
yeah, look at that headline though. Nearly 5 hours, and they were eating caviar, and he was walking around. I mean, this is a headline.
Mm, 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 mm. 5 hours.
Like sticks and stones, bro. Sticks and stones. Say what you want. We could play the dozens. As a matter of fact, I got about 5 comedians that'll come up in here right now and tear your ass up. Okay? You want to play a word game, but let's really talk about what's happening to our country and you sending your son-in-law with you know why that him and Ivanka didn't want to be in the administration because they didn't want to have to go through all of those security clearances. They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to do it anymore.
We had the comedian come up and say his mama got a mouth in the back of her neck and she
Tear his ass up. That's what they need to do. Some of these news affiliates
He's
need
talking
to
about his
give
mama so bad.
need to give, and let's not talk about his clan ass daddy, okay? Where he gets it from. But that's what we need to give some comedians a press pass for a day and let them go in there and tear his ass up. And
Oh
then on
God.
the cameras and then come out. You talk about, Democrats doing stuff. I bet you that would motivate the base. Did you see what happened? They with that reporter was I mean, come on. He's sitting up there asleep in the cabinet meeting, and the news outlets are just running it. They just stop everything and let us look.
It goes right there. Oh my gosh.
And the best that Democrats could do yesterday was saying that, oh, they're throwing the admiral under the bus. That's all y'all got.
That's it.
That's it. But one of the coldest things that came out of the headlines yesterday was that black admiral, Navy admiral that was over the Caribbean that retired.
Mhm.
That decision more than likely would have been him,
Mhm.
but he stepped down because he knew
Mhm.
what was coming.
He knew it
And
was
then look at what the white man did to the white man. Hexef said, "Oh, I wasn't there for the second one. I went to go do a few push-ups and drink my whiskey." That man right there, he gets the award for yesterday because when all of that conversation and they threw that white man, that white admiral under the bus, he was like, "Now y'all know why I stepped away."
Yep. Mm, mm, mm. Terrible. Every time Operation Midway Blitz, the Trump administration's immigration crackdown operation in Chicago is in the news, one can expect to learn that immigration cops are either using excessive force against protesters or detainees, targeting people violently who are not dangerous, lying to justify their actions, or all of the above. And since the start of Trump's second term, it has become more and more apparent that the only people standing between the civilian population and an administration that pretty much just does whatever it wants are federal judges, as you said earlier, Neil, who are currently showing America what checks and balances are all about. Judge Sarah Ellis is the latest. She's from the Federal District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, and she has not been shy about stopping federal agents and their use of force, including tear gas, and calling out agents in their Department of Homeland Security handlers out for lying about being under attack in Chicago to justify their actions. So this judge said, enough is enough. We're not
Right.
standing for this.
Good for her. That I love it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the yo mama in the side way. Take that. I'm not listening to what the Supreme Court says. I don't care who's on your side. I'm gonna stand up. That's your mama.
Well, that's the thing, right? These people have these people are these judges, but they are mothers and fathers, and at some point, you got to feel that you got to have it's got to be some humane to you,
Or you
right?
can have kids. The people. Sometimes we talk about the village. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to talk about things around the dinner table, but you talk about things around the dinner table.
Hmm.
And a lot of times these people, they're not just robots, although judges may be robots with AI in a few years. That's a whole nother story. But they're not robots. And they have people within their household, within their churches, and they hear. They hear what
Hmm.
the people are saying. They hear what their family members are saying. And that weighs in on things.
Yeah, yeah. Orange says Admiral Halsey, the brother who served 37 years in the U.S. Navy, is a Morehouse graduate and member of the Divine Nine. He made the right decision. Hopefully, he will testify in front of Congress, is what Orange says. And it probably, I would imagine he would whenever they decide to call him to testify. I think he would. He seems like he has that, that bravery, that courage,
Hmm.
and that resolve to do just that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We
And
will see.
most people, I will say for the most part, most people, white, black, red, yellow, brown,
Hmm.
are just regular, decent people. I want to say that too, because, I'm not talking about all white people. I'm just talking about powerful white men. I'm talking about a profile that the FBI released who the number one terrorist threat is in this country. I'm talking about those individuals.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And other news, Costco. So now corporate America, maybe they're starting to hit back a little bit because Costco is now suing the Trump administration because of the sweeping tariffs that Trump imposed on its trading partners. Costco is seeking a full refund of tariffs it paid during Trump's actions. The retailer is among dozens of companies that are pursuing similar cases against the Trump administration as the Supreme Court prepares to rule on whether Trump legally invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose broad tariffs on U.S. trade partners. So Costco says, hey, this is necessary because they owe us for doing this, for what Trump did. So it's good to see some, like Revlon is among those that are fighting back as well and suing the administration.
Yeah, it was like for Costco's, they quoted like $1 billion+ that they've lost because of Trump's tariffs. And so it's good that they're, pushing back against him. And I'm pretty sure that Costco, that he's trying to figure out how to stick it to the Costco CEO. We already know how he operates, but I'm glad that the leadership over at Costco is not afraid and they're doing what's right. And sometimes all it takes is one or two
Hmm.
to start, speaking up, and then others will fall in line. Just like with Trump, it only took the technology industry to fall behind him and everybody else kind of follows suit. So just like it happened for him, it could also reverse. So
Yeah,
he should
absolutely.
be concerned. Well, when he's up, he should be concerned.
When he's up, when he's awake. um, Also, mom and pop businesses have filed the most bankruptcies in recent history, up almost double the 2020 levels. More than 2,200 people and small firms filed bankruptcy this year under the so-called Subchapter 5 rules, which make it chapter or cheaper, I should say, and faster to win relief from creditors. High borrowing cost, cautious consumers, and the Trump administration's trade wars are weighing on earnings for the smallest of businesses, while owners' optimism have fell to a 6-month low. Additionally, the number of subchapter 5 cases is rising faster than the overall chapter or overall rate for chapter 11 bankruptcies, which businesses and wealthy people typically use to restructure their debts. And finally, Niel, consumer bankruptcy cases typically filed under the chapter 13 rules are also up compared to recent years when an unusually low number of individuals sought protection from creditors. So far, more than 180,000 Chapter 13 cases have been filed, which is 5% more than the first 11 months of last year. So this administration is causing people to go broke.
Yeah. Hmm. I mean, because he doesn't care about the small business, especially the small minority business. We already know he thinks that's DEI. But even like the mom and pop white shops, they're falling victim to, him giving to his corporate greedy friends and not thinking about just, the businesses within our local communities. That's why it was such a push over the holiday to just not corporate buy and support your local businesses. And I won't say black. I mean, for us, it was all about supporting our local black businesses, but just support your community grocery stores. The small businesses, not these corporate targets. And I'm glad that people are holding the line from Target. I see the parking lots are empty. Okay. And during this time of year, those parking lots used to be packed. And so I think we have to continue to support our local businesses by boycotting the corporate ones as much as possible, except Costco. Okay. Costco is doing what they're supposed to do.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I need the chat to weigh in on here. I know you probably are going to weigh in. You probably got a lot to say about this too, Neil. But Odell Beckham Jr. was on a podcast, the Pivot podcast, and folks had a lot to say about what he had to say about a 5-year, $100 million contract. He says that, quote, it doesn't last forever. And he talked about how it's hard to pay the bills. Word is that he's about to file bankruptcy. And people went in on him. A lot of people went in on him about him going on about $100 million contract not being enough. He talked about his family and other relatives that he has to take care of. I want your thoughts. Folks hear an athlete say $100 million doesn't last forever. It's hard to get some sympathy. I mean,
He's talking from, yeah, because he's talking from a different, living in a different bracket of income. I can understand
I,
what he's saying. It's just that I can't relate to that. And he should learn how to simplify because he wasn't always rich, so he knows what it's like to be broke. So he
Mhm.
tap back into his childhood and his teenage years, and he would get it. But on the flip side, I do understand what he's saying because once you have so much money, you become accustomed to a certain lifestyle and you have to have that money coming in constantly in order to live in the mansions, to fly on the jets, the private jets. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what he's saying, but on the flip side, you wasn't always rich, so you know what it's like to be broke. So just go back to your college in younger years when your mama used to have to struggle to buy the tennis shoes you wanted to wear to go to practice to get to the NFL, and then you'll be okay. That's my take on that.
I always say this. I- i- if you haven't learned from MC Hammer, you will never learn. And MC Hammer was very transparent about why he went belly up,
Mhm.
paying people to do stuff just to basically just to hang out with him because they were from the hood. They was from his hood. They grew up together. Listen, there's so many people that I grew up with, right? Including my own brothers and sisters. And um, you go to work, you take care of your family, your immediate family. This idea of cousins and nieces, great nieces, twice removed, and uncles from from whatever, that's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility. And it's fine that you feel the need to lend a hand, and that's about all. Even now, like, I mean, I certainly don't make that money, but like, I have uncles and friends of a family, brothers, uh, who every now and again they might need a few bucks. Okay, but that doesn't, it cannot and should not um prevent you from taking care of the family that's at home, right? Your wife, your kids. That's first. That's first. And if you feel like if you are giving so much that you are taking from your immediate family, then you're the problem. You are not thinking straight at all. Um, I get these athletes. One of the greatest things that they do, one of the more commendable things I should say that they do, many of them, the first thing they do is buy their mother a home, and that's what Odell Beckham was saying. And I get that, and that's so commendable. It's the least any of us would feel like we could do for our moms. And as Michelle Madison said, you just have to say no. I always go back to what Bernie Mac said that time he was on the Oprah Winfrey Show. He's like, listen, his brother-in-law comes to him. Oh, Mac, things are bad right now. Mac, it's bad. I'm 11 months behind on my mortgage. And Bernie was like, why didn't you call me when you was 11 days behind? I can't help you 11 months behind. Right? It's just these expectations. You got to be able to shut them out. But another part of that, Niel, so when we talk about the $100 million, and Odell did break it down a little bit, and he's right. That becomes closer to $60 million after taxes and fees and the constant financial pressure that comes with being a professional athlete. That there's also, I mentioned this yesterday. So for instance, I mentioned the jock tax, right? California, for instance, if you play in California, your jock tax is 13.3%. That's on top of the state tax, the federal tax, your agent's fee. Agents get 15%. Some of them get 20%.
Mhm.
Depends on who you are, what deal you have with them. And just as for instance, if you are making $1 million in salary as an athlete in California, your take home is about $500,000.
Mhm.
So, and that's before a single living expense is paid. And then
Mhm.
you mentioned about the lifestyle. Now you
Yeah,
got to
it's the
meet that.
lifestyle that, because I mean, I hear what you're saying about the family, but I
Mhm.
think, for him, we've seen him. He likes to trick, as they say. He likes to trick off money, renting,
Yep.
yachts to have girls on them, and dancing around, and,
Yep.
$50,000 bottles of champagne.
That's
And
crazy.
that's really what these athletes are doing. They're tricking. They have a
Hmm.
lifestyle. You go to the club and you get table service, bottle service. That's $50,000. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so all of this stuff racks up. And
Yeah.
it's just about living within your means. You
Right.
get all this money, and that's another thing I think that these sports leagues could do to service their players is financial literacy.
He said that. Odell and that interview, he said we never got any type of
Yeah,
financial
like, so
literacy.
when they have these leagues, have these organizations like the Players League, the
Hmm.
Players League should adopt some financial literacy tools. I remember, in addition to how to deal with groupies. I remember when Deion Sanders first got to Colorado, and he had one of those Insta models or influencers talk to the players.
Hmm.
I'm not saying, like, I'm a woman, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there's a whole grooming situation
Oh
that
yeah.
should happen for players, to navigate through the traps and fixings of becoming into money, large amounts of money at one time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that the NBA used to. I don't know if they still do or not, but they used to when it comes to the women part. They used to have a session with incoming rookies about how to protect themselves from groupies, from unwanted pregnancies and stuff like that, getting women pregnant and stuff like that. They used to have some very um, pointed discussions with them on that. So,
I mean, because I can imagine coming into such a large amount of money and you having no training, and you've lived your whole life. You've watched your parents struggle to get you the cleats, to pay for you to be in Little League, and, the activities that come with playing football throughout school, throughout college, and then you get this big old amount of money.
hmm,
Sometimes you learn, sometimes you don't, and I think that that's one of the things that happens. But at the same time, once you realize, you have to start living within your means. Maybe you shouldn't rent that yacht. Maybe you should just fly first class and not get the private jet.
exactly. Yeah, Greer is making the point too that this is an industry where players are predominantly black. These leagues will never do that. Talking about financial literacy, I agree with
But the
that.
players league could,
The
like,
players league
if
could,
I
yeah.
if the president of the players league should take note to this because they have the power and they have the funding to do those types of activities. Now, if the players decide not to take it, that's fine, but that's why you have players leagues because of the white owned owners and things like that. So there is power within the players to service one another.
What's the why her name is escaping me for some reason? We had her on the program the wonderful basketball player from Louisiana, LSU, uh,
Oh, flagette.
Flage. You talk about somebody who is so versed in financial literacy. It was so refreshing to have her on and hear her talk about that. Uh, hopefully these young ones are following that path as well. Patricia Jackson says that they need to stop showboating, and Dr. Marilyn said that, and this is really interesting too. What Dr. Marilyn says, I believe she says he should have talking about Odell Beckham should have been mentored by the former Seahawks player Richard Sherman because Richard Sherman never spent his money. He lived off his endorsements, and that's another thing. Odell had endorsements as well, and a
Mhm.
lot of these guys they can live up to, live on their endorsements. Orange G says shout out to HBCUs. He says I'm not a fan of JP Morgan Chase, but they offer financial literacy classes for athletes at several SWAC colleges. So yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I really like you. You brought up Flage. Angel Reese is another one who realized that she was going down the wrong track when she was bragging about when she first went to the Chicago Sky. She was bragging about I think she was paying like over $10,000 a month on an apartment, and she was popping off and. People started commenting like you could buy a house. That could be a mortgage. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You could pay off a house. And then, like maybe a few months later, she didn't say I heard y'all, but she just was like, I bought a house, so knock it off. And then another Juju Watkins,
Mhm.
she is one that is making money before she's even getting to the league, and because of her upbringing, Ted Watkins and her family, she's doing right investments, investing in leagues, and doing the right thing. So I think the women, hate to say it, but the women the female basketball players are really showing how to live a lavish life, but how to invest and make sure that your money is working for you instead of you just always working for the money.
Yeah, this is like you said earlier too. They get into these tax brackets that we just can't relate to. But one of the things I will say is that there's enough history if you're going into that type of money, there's enough history in our community with our athletes and our entertainers to say this is what you do and this is what you don't do.
For sure, for sure. And a couple more headlines that are happening. This is one that we missed that came out last Wednesday, before the Thanksgiving holiday. A judge agreed to dismiss the state's case against Donald Trump and his allies, stemming from him attempting to steal the 2020 presidential election. Now, the ruling came after the local prosecutor, a white male who took over the case from Fonnie Willis, when she was disqualified, said he would no longer pursue the charges, stating, in his professional opinion, the citizens of Georgia are not served by pursuing the case in full for another 5 to 10 years. And he wrote, he was ending the case to serve the interest of justice and promote judicial finality. Okay, so now the dismissal of this case decisively ends efforts to prosecute Trump for trying to interfere with our elections.
Oh, he's in some sense he's right. There's no sense in keeping that case open. It's when you keep it open, it does take some resources that you don't, you can put elsewhere. But listen, if things tend to, as people say, things tend to even out. If things even out, go the way that it probably should go. Listen, he's committing so many crimes now. Somebody's got to come in there, and somebody's ultimately going to hold him and his people accountable.
I,
So
I I
we'll see.
definitely think that that case should have still moved forward,
Mhm.
because he is on record telling the
Oh
Secretary of
yeah,
State to find him
yeah.
a certain amount of
Amount of votes. Yeah.
votes,
Hmm.
and the fake electors.
Right.
That this ongoing conversation about let's get rid of the electoral college. This is a perfectly prime example of why. Because if he just gave him a get out of jail free card, and not only a get out of jail free card, but a do it again card,
Hmm.
because now Trump is president and he's gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, my point is, I'm not saying that he should get away with it. My point is, I understood, right now the closure. Now it depends. I don't know that it was done with or without prejudice, because I think if you do it with prejudice, it's that means that you can reopen it. If you do it without prejudice, it's closed. I believe one or the other. David Youngblood, if he's watching, he can let us know which one is which. Um, they have to, at the very least, wait till he leaves office before they can pursue anything. So all I'm saying is that I understand right now, if it's done in a way in which they can reopen it after he leaves, then fine. But also, like I said, if if things come to where they need to be, if for instance, just to be very direct and specific, if the Democrats win both the House and the Senate and proceed to successfully impeach him, uh, then there are so many other crimes that he's, in addition to that he's been committing in your face. So that's when you better hold him accountable. It should be no more, for the sake of the country, for the sake of political discourse or political harmony or whatever. It shouldn't be for the sake of anything.
Hmm. Yeah. That fake electors situation is, people should be highly concerned about that. Just having people sign that's forgery. They committed forgery. I
Mhm.
mean, and all those electors walked away.
Forgery and perjury, because when you sign that document, when you write in that document, it's under the penalty of perjury.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, they committed multiple crimes, all under his directive.
Hmm.
And so we shouldn't just forget about it because white men decided not to move forward with it, you
Right.
know. But let's talk about black men and how they are, it's not just about black women that are leading. Black men are leading too. And former Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes has announced his candidacy for Wisconsin governor. Now, if you remember, Mandela Barnes had been a mainstay in Wisconsin politics, becoming the first black person to serve as lieutenant governor in the state. And Barnes announced yesterday and framed his campaign as a pushback against the chaos of the Trump administration in his video. And so this will be an interesting race to watch because he definitely has the support of the Collective PAC, which is known for helping elect black candidates all across this country. And I'm sure he'll pick up a couple more political PAC endorsements. But he has ran, he has lost, he has got back up, and now he's running for governor. And it's a crowded race already.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he has name recognition, which is important when running in big elections like this.
He has name recognition, and he has one of them names that you can't forget, Mandela
Hmm.
Barnes, like
Yeah.
Coleman Domingo.
Hmm.
These are nice names. I like those names.
Yeah. And so let's head over to New Orleans, where exonerated Calvin Duncan has won New Orleans criminal court clerk election. Now, Duncan became a lawyer and legal expert during the 3 decades he spent in prison for a crime he would later be exonerated from. Now, AP reported Duncan won, receiving 68% of the vote. And that's according to the preliminary results out of Louisiana Secretary of State. Now, Duncan said, tonight is a dream that's been 40 years in the making. So now Duncan is known as the New Orleans clerk of criminal courts.
Wow. So where's RNG? What does RNG think of him? That's
I
pretty
think it's a
cool.
great story. That I
Hmm.
mean, that is like redemption at its best.
That's a comeback story and a half right there.
Yeah, and then when you talk about the whole concept of, prisons being rehabilitation, right? And you should be able to come back and re-enter in society and be whatever you want to be. You served your time. This man was exonerated, okay? So he served time that he shouldn't have even been serving time for. But this is what an example of what it looks like when the system didn't, let me take that back. The system didn't work for him because he was in jail. He didn't do what he did. But this is
Yeah.
a great, get back for him.
It's a great story.
And he has insight that somebody else might not have because he's been through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah. And then in some sports headline, Serena Williams yesterday tweeted, OMG, y'all, I'm not coming back. So this came, oh, and she also said, this wildfire is crazy. So yesterday, headlines broke out because she had re entered the International Tennis Integrity Agency, and she registered in the testing pool, which means that it looked like she was plotting a comeback. But she just claims it meant she was planning to just, get back into the swing of things, but not necessarily the swing of US Opens, Wimbledon,
Mhm.
and things like that. So
So
we'll
her,
see what that
yeah.
means.
But I was
But
gonna
she's
say, so her post there is her overreacting.
no, her responding to the headline. So yesterday, headlines broke out that she was returning.
Okay.
And she
Okay.
was returning, and she was going to be competing. And
Okay.
everybody was getting excited. And she said, no, I just don't want to be marked retired anymore, but I'm not coming
So,
back.
girl, you're retired. Golly, take your millions and your kids, your healthy kids. I'm so glad they're healthy, and live your life with your husband.
But I mean,
You
if she
guys,
wants to compete, she's entitled to do
okay,
so.
but don't say you retired then,
Well,
right?
no, yeah. Well, hopefully her name will come off the retired list, but she won't necessarily be active. But she'll have the option to be active if she wants to. And I
Oh
think
my
that's what this
gosh,
is all about. Her having the option.
her wanting to stay in the headlines.
No, I
Good
think that
grief,
no, I think that she's a lover of the sport.
is that what it is?
And she's a lover of
I'm
the
sure she
sport.
loves the sport, but come on. I mean, it sounds like this is a classic want to have it both ways thing. I'm not trying to criticize Serena, but come on, that's what it is. Coach Tommy says take two seats.
Well, why can't she have the option if she wants the
Well,
option?
then be quiet when they're reporting that you. It's like if Michael Jordan went to the NBA and signed papers and reinstate me. Well, my goodness, that's going to be headlines. She's the
Right.
Michael Jordan of
Of
tennis.
of tennis, right. Yeah, and the headlines went crazy. I think, and a lot of times people don't look at themselves in that way. She's been a mom and everything. And the way the headlines took off, she was like, wait a minute, I'm not, because it takes 6 months. It said it takes 6 months before she can even qualify to start playing again. And so it's like, wait a minute, I didn't say I was coming back. I just, I wanted my card active again if I decided to.
In case she needs health care again.
Like her sister. Yeah, that's gonna be what she tweets next. She needs health care.
Oh gosh.
So let's talk about this reboot gets the boot. Netflix is canceling Good Times. Now remember, after one season following the backlash for the cartoon version of Good
That's
Times.
right. It was a cartoon.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it
really?
was a
What did I miss?
cartoon. It was a
Okay.
cartoon, and it was like with JB Smoove,
Yes.
voicing over Tisha Campbell,
Mhm.
Wanda Sykes. It was a lot of folks. Well, Netflix has decided to pull the plug on the animated reboot after just one season amid the backlash. Now, it was marketed as a modern take on the 1970s classic, but the series struggled to resonate with viewers, with critics accusing it of leaning on racist stereotypes and failing to capture the original humor, humanity, and cultural insight. And
I
Norman
remember.
Lear, Norman Lear was one that always got invited to the cookout. He always got invited to the cookout,
I
but he wouldn't
remember.
approve of this. I don't think he wouldn't approve
Yeah.
of this.
Well, I do remember when they were when they had said that this was coming out, and the information was that it was going to be bad. It was not going to be good. So
Yeah,
I
it,
never
it-
watched it. I never
I didn't
watched this
watch it
reboot
either. I
either.
didn't even
So
watch it, but I did watch the when ABC did the live
oh
reboot.
yeah, oh those were
Those
great.
were excellent. Those were
Yeah.
excellent. But this right here totally missed the mark. Um,
Mm.
and it even I mean, and it had huge names attached to it.
Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
just, you can't take us, people who experience good times and grew up on good times. This was not it.
Yeah, the story was from what I saw in the beginning, of all of the write ups and the trailer and stuff, that this was just not. It was a waste of time.
Hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So, Merry Christmas, y'all.
Oh gosh, so maybe they'll get other reboots right. Reboots are very hard.
Yeah, leave them alone. But one reboot, one reimagined series that's on now, that's in its final season, that is terrific. It's a great show. Is Bel Air.
I knew you was gonna say
The
that.
way that they spun that show to make it a dramedy,
Mm.
because before Fresh Prince was just a pure comedy, but this is more of a dramedy. But the way that they reimagined it was brilliant. I hate to see it go, but
Yeah.
it was really good.
You
Four
know,
seasons of Bel Air was good.
I never watched that either, and I keep saying I got to check it out, and maybe I will. But I think with the reboots, you mentioned what ABC did with the Jeffersons Live and All in the Family
They did
Live
Good
and
Times
Good
too, right?
Times, right? Good Times, and it was I forgot who was paired with Good Times, because
It might have
it
been
was another show.
Anthony Anderson. Was it Anthony
No,
Anderson?
yeah, he played in it, but what I'm saying, and even John Amos made an appearance. But I'm saying that it was two shows that they paired together each time that they did the lives, is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
And I forget the other show, but nonetheless, either you do it that way or you do it the way they just did Everybody Loves Raymond. They just honored the anniversary. They brought those surviving cast back together, and they talked about their favorite episodes, and they showed clips from each of their favorite episodes.
Right.
I thought that was done very well. You had the creator of the show sitting there with Raymond and the cast, and stuff like that. It's like
Martin
King of
did the same
Queens.
thing. Martin
Martin,
did it.
there
Yeah,
you
it was
go.
that was really
Mhm.
good too. And
That
you
was good
saw
too.
you heard the saw the reconciliation between him and Tisha Campbell,
Yep.
and then the homage and the love that they showed
Yep.
Tommy, who is no
Yeah.
longer with us. They That was well done
Exactly.
as well.
That's how, instead of trying to bring these shows back that you really can't bring back, that's how you do it.
Right.
And I just thought I hope they do more of those lives. Yeah, Coach Tommy, Archie Bunker, All in the Family was with the first live, with the Jeffersons.
Hmm.
But I'm trying to remember who was with Good Times. I don't remember what show was with Good Times.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
Um,
nonetheless, that's how you should do it.
Yeah, and another one that everybody is looking forward to seeing reimagined or revived is A Different World, which will be coming on Netflix. It's already been cleared for one season, and it brings Debbie Allen back to the place, and she did a great job as EP of A Different World. So to have her there, she understands the storyline, and it picks up with Whitney and Whitley and Dwayne's daughter. So really looking forward to seeing that as well.
Yeah, should be interesting. But other than that, leave
Oh, and
these old
Martin.
shows
Oh,
alone.
wait, one more. And Martin is coming back too. Well, it's a reimagined, and it picks up with, I forget whose character. but there is a reboot coming with Martin Bentley Evans is doing it, which was the executive producer of Martin.
Right.
But it's based on one of the characters. I can't remember
Not
what character
Martin?
it is. No, it's not about Martin. It's one of the characters from the
Wow.
show, and so that's something to look for too. And they're already filming that one.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. Is Martin going to appear?
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, okay. 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 Here we go. How's he doing? Do you know?
Martin, I mean,
Yeah.
he pops up every now and then. Everybody seems to think something is wrong with him, but he's every time he pops up, he's like, "Look, I'm good. Can't you tell I'm eating well? Look at my belly."
Well, we could tell that, but we also know that unfortunately he seems to motor skills seems to be really slow,
No, he
and
says
that
nothing is wrong with him, so I just take him at face value.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
That's
let's
what
get
you
some
say, then we can roll with it.
let's get some Black History facts on this date, folks. In 1847, after years of being an avid reader of the Liberator, which was a weekly newspaper published by William Lloyd Garrison, Frederick Douglass decided, I'm going to start my own newspaper. And he called it the North Star, which became known for its staunch positions against slavery. So on this date, Frederick Douglass launched the North Star.
Yes, and let's fast forward to the year of 1982, where Thomas Hitman Hearns won the WBC Junior Middleweight title, making him the first black boxer to win titles in 5 different weight classes.
Tommy Hearns was something else. They fought. That's the last great era of boxing, the '80s. And of course,
Hmm.
Tyson, carried a little bit into the '90s. But um, the classic fight with Ray Leonard, the first fight, which Tommy lost, showdown at the Palace in 1981. That was just one of the great classics. And then the best 3 rounds in the history of boxing when he lost to each time he lost, but he lost to Marvin Hagler. But that was and still is considered the best 3 rounds in the history of boxing. These guys from opening bell,
Hmm.
you had never seen anything like it except in the movies, right? From opening bell, they came out swinging, and it was non-stop swinging. It wasn't posturing. It wasn't, dancing or whatever. It was non-stop swinging, and both Hagler and Hearns were connecting some what they say haymakers.
Right.
And finally, he Hagler finished Hearns off in the third round, but Tommy Hearns, great champion, a deadly left hand, unbelievable. That jab, it just swells Sugar Ray's eyes up a lot.
Well,
But
I just remember back then, that's when fight parties were a big hit, and it
they
was
were
like
big.
who has the fight? Okay, I'm coming to
Yep,
your house. It was like Super Bowl. You get ready
yep.
the Super Bowl. That's what fight night was when you use Sugar Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson. That's why I say Gen X, we had the best generation because we experienced like cultural moments that are not duplicated or seen right now, like us talking about the reboots. Um, we were the originators and the
Yeah.
creators, and like Floyd Mayweather can be on a plane with tons of money, but he still doesn't have that what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and Floyd Mayweather's father was tough too. When he fought, I remember the fight he fought against Ray Leonard, and Leonard had him beat so many times in that fight, and he showed his mettle. He came back a few times and made that a real good fight before Leonard ultimately won that fight. But Michelle Madison said everyone chipped in for fight night.
Right.
It was true.
Everybody did.
It's
Yeah.
true.
You
Yeah.
got to pay that pay-per-view price. I mean, and not
Yeah.
taking anything away from the legend Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. Of course those were great boxers that paved the way. But boxing today is nothing like it was yesterday. It was like a cultural moment. You had a house full of people. You know what I mean? As a kid, I'm peeping around the corner. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like it
It
was just
was.
so exciting. It was so exciting to watch a boxing match. And I don't
Oh,
think we
it
have
was
that
big.
now.
You know, they would have you know, even before you talk about Ali and Foreman back then when they fought, you know, we didn't have yet HBO wasn't around yet. Pay-per-view wasn't around. Well, it was around, but it wasn't you couldn't get it in your house. You'd have to go for instance, Ali Foreman, I lived in New York and Queens, so they
Hmm.
showed the fight at Alphabet Racetrack,
Ooh,
the big screen there. You know, if you had to pay there. It was in movie theaters later. The pay per view, for instance, Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler's fight was being to movie theaters. I went to a movie theater to see that fight in Corona, and so
yeah.
what are we looking at here?
That is the movie Fight Night. I think it's called Fight
Oh,
Night
okay.
on
Because look at
Peacock.
these guys. Terrence Howard, he looked like
Yeah,
a
I mean
pimp.
that movie was based upon a Muhammad Ali fight in Atlanta. It was a big fight in Atlanta, and
Uh-huh.
these individuals they did a heist.
Mhm.
They were robbed. And it stars Kevin Hart, Taraji P Henson. These gentlemen.
Okay.
It was a great movie. But it was all about this Muhammad Ali fight that happened in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and what happened afterwards. Great movie.
The greatest boxing documentary, in my opinion, ever was it's called When We Were Kings, and that it documented the Ali Foreman fight, and it was an amazingly done documentary, and it just took you inside what was going on. That fight was delayed for 6 months when they went over to Africa, and it showed how Don King manipulated everybody. He had no money,
Mhm.
but put on had two fighters that he promised $5 million to, and he also brought in the Temptations and James Brown and all these entertainers. This guy did it with no money, but he got folks to pay, and of course the government over there in Africa, Zaire, he got the president really to pay for a lot of the things that he knew he had to pay for. He knew he owed these guys, and Don King really, you talk about, man, this guy really showed you how to make money without having money because he did it. He absolutely did it.
And he loves him some Donald Trump too. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, gosh, still does, right? Even in his old age, he still got his "Make America Great Again" hat and his flag waving. So I've met Don King for the first time at a Fox News studio.
Hmm.
We both were doing an interview with Fox News, Rita Cosby at the time,
Hmm.
and we both were sitting in the green room together, and it was just a thrill talking with him because every if you ever watched the Knicks, for instance, I know RNG loves the Knicks.
Your mic is off.
There we go. Walt Clyde Frazier is known for always when he commentating on the game to rhyme, 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 and that's what Don
Hmm.
King does. Don King in a conversation, that's all he does. He makes words rhyme constantly, and I'm
Yeah.
Don King for like 15, 20 minutes, and everything is like, and
Hmm.
only in America and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. One of our publishers, Ken Miller, former publisher, LA Sentinel and Inglewood Today, he works very closely with Don King, and he definitely has some hilarious stories to
Oh yeah.
tell. But
Well, King also still owns one of our newspapers
yeah,
in Cleveland. Yeah.
yeah. One of the things that I thought about though, talking about Muhammad Ali and thinking about his character and how he was the people's champ, and just like the whole military situation. And then I thought about the story we did with Odell Beckham, and it's like,
Mhm.
how do you use your power? How do you
Right.
use your influence? And you're talking about $100 million and how you spend it. And then we're talking about Muhammad Ali and just who he was as an athlete.
Yeah.
So like going back, I mean, I think, the players leagues, they really need to get a curriculum together to teach the players to be more than just ballers,
Yeah.
but to be
Yeah.
contributors as well.
Well, Ali was he set the standard for so many because he was very attentive to those type of things. Ali did spend a lot of money unnecessarily. He would have told you that, but he also kept an eye. He was never going to be broke, that's for sure. But he also was very, as we know, he was very socially conscious
Hmm.
and as conscious as anybody ever in the history of sports. You had others who were conscious, but nobody as conscious or who could ever say they were more conscious
And
than
sometimes
Muhammad
he would
Ali.
say something to those white people, and they looked at him. They was like, "Well, what are you really saying?" But all the black people knew what he was saying, and they caught it later. Sometimes they caught it later, but the black people was like, "The truth, the truth."
Well, that was the thing too. He was in a position, and that's what I'm saying. So the position he was in, he could easily be like, see today. Just you know what, Michael Jordan is one. Whether you agree with Michael or not, he was one that he doesn't say anything. He doesn't make any type of social justice stand or any political stand whatsoever. He stays under the fray, right? But Ali was at the forefront. He was at the top of the fray.
Right, for
He
sure.
called everything out, racism. He talked about that nonstop,
Right,
and no matter
right.
what the audience was.
He spoke to the times, and he felt what we felt. I think another athlete that does it in a different way, in a business savvy way, is Magic Johnson.
Mhm.
Definitely a community person. Just growing up here, and when he was with the Lakers, and just watching his evolution. And then there's always talks, and I wouldn't be surprised if one day he decides to be mayor of LA,
Mm.
because there's always rumbles when there's like an open seat. Like right now, it's Karen Bass's, even though she's struggling, and conversations are always now. Oh, I don't know if she's gonna make it, but Magic Johnson is always like second or third on the list of who would you like to see be the mayor of LA, and he's up there with because of what he
Would
does.
he would he would he want that headache?
I think so.
Think
I
so?
mean, Magic. He's a businessman, but he's also a humanitarian as well.
Right, and
Um,
he can get on his $100 million yacht and relax. As mayor, he
mhm,
can't do that.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He likes to relax with his family, which is very commendable that he does that. He takes his family on that vacation all the time. Every
I
every
mean, that's
year
their
at least.
yearly thing, yeah. But
Hmm.
things change.
Yeah.
He's such a community oriented person. I mean, he goes to the church right down the street from my house on Crenshaw Boulevard. He's just, over the holidays, he was doing the electric slide, passing out turkeys. So he does have a heart for the people, and I think it just would be something more like if there was a need. You know what I'm saying? If there was a space he felt he could feel and do good, I definitely think that he would be open to being mayor of LA.
This sounds very stressful for a guy who truly is living a life that's golden. So, but you never know because some of these athletes
Oh,
they do aspire to other things, including political office. So,
right. David Youngblood said Ali was a hero. Michael Jordan is not. He's just a good basketball player. Mm. Tell it like
well,
it is.
there you have
But
it.
I think Jordan does his under the radar, because I know over the past several years since COVID, he's opened up multiple clinics for his community. Where is he from? North Carolina? Is he
Mhm,
from North Carolina? Yeah,
mhm.
he's opened up at least four community clinics for the community. So I think he's not interested in being called a humanitarian, but he does humanitarian things.
Yeah, and I think what David is talking about is pretty much what I was describing. Like Ali, he spoke out against things that that
Yeah.
bother black folks. He
Jordan's
was
not going to do
outspoken.
that.
Jordan's not going to do that.
No,
Yeah. So
he's not. He's not that type. Like he said, he's a good basketball player. I was just saying, like, he does do things, but
he's like
he's
O.J.
not looking
Simpson.
for no. Oh, okay.
What? Go ahead, say.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna, when
Because OJ was
thought
that.
about,
That was OJ.
I thought
And
about it, and I thought about, who he's married to now. I was like, okay, I got nothing on it.
oh God, yeah, had to come down to marriage, huh? For you?
Well, you said he's an OJ. First thing I
No, what
think
I
of
mean is,
who's his.
I don't mean that he gonna slice somebody up. But OJ
Oh,
never.
David said no. Mike is not like OJ. I always thought about the wife, and that since David Youngblood, I was like, okay, you got me there. That's all I thought about.
I was talking about simply that OJ did not want to be painted as a black man until he got into trouble, and we all
Oh,
knew
so
that
you're
about
saying that Michael
OJ.
Jordan doesn't want to be painted as a black man?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Ooh,
But
okay.
I know that was OJ. OJ's thing was, I'm not black. I'm not this. I'm just a football player. I'm a businessman or whatever. And then he got in trouble. He killed people. And
Allegedly.
then
Well,
he
he was.
then he said, I'm
Hey,
black.
if it does not fit, you must have quit. In the words of Johnny Cochran. Okay, but like Jay Z said, I'm not black. I'm OJ. Okay.
Let's see. There you go. So I'm not sure about Michael Jordan. I'm not saying he is, but I just don't know. I've
Have you
just not seen any
seen?
proof of life.
Oh, I mean, he just likes his cigars. A cigar and a good golf course is all MJ needs. Okay,
That's it.
that's it. That's it. Have you seen him on any of his commentary or his segment on the WNBA?
No, I have not.
Not
I have not.
WNBA, the NBA, the
NBA, I
NBA.
have not.
Yeah.
Everything is W to you now. The NBA don't exist to you anyway. So,
I mean, it's not at just like we were talking about boxing. It's not as exciting as it used to be. There are
no,
really
it's
no
not.
stars. There are
No,
no
you're
stars.
absolutely right. I think they're stars, but
Name me five besides LeBron and Steph Curry.
okay. So you just took away two. And you want me to give you five? I mean, you have Giannis out in Milwaukee, who's a star. I think Jalen Brunson is a star.
Never
Shy.
heard of him.
All right, let's move on.
No, that's
Now,
what I'm
hey,
saying.
RNG, she said she never heard of Jalen Brunson. RNG is gonna
I've
love
never
you
heard
for
of
that.
Jalen Brunson. I've never heard of him
He is
before in my
gonna
life.
absolutely love you
Who
for
is
that.
that man? Who is
He
that
he
man?
he plays for the Knicks.
Okay, I don't
Um,
know.
but David is right on this for sure. Tiger is like OJ.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Apps
yes.
100%. Absolutely.
Okay,
Tiger,
yeah, I think that's a better comparison.
I would imagine that on his birth certificate,
Uh
any
oh.
any reference to African American or black was removed on Tiger's birth
But
certificate.
he did love his black daddy, though. His black daddy taught him everything
Uh-huh.
he knew.
Yep. Yep. He sure did.
And now he's dating
Trump.
Trump's son's ex-wife or girlfriend, right?
Well, her last name is Trump, so I don't know.
Oh,
Tiger marry her, he'll change his name to Trump. That's the Tiger Woods I know.
you know.
That's a shame. That guy.
Yeah.
I remember just rooting for the guy. It's hard now, he doesn't win, but so it's easier not to root for him. But it would be hard to root for that guy. Just hard to root for him.
Well, I mean, I think, Tiger is a champ. And so,
What is that?
um anytime that Tiger Woods is in, put it this way, anytime a extraordinary black athlete is on the field, the court, they add what that sport is missing. So although we talk crap about Tiger, rightfully so, anytime he steps on that golf course, the ratings are going to go up, the endorsements are going to go up, and it makes all the other players get attention. And that's something that he can't deny with a black card. Whether he likes it or not, he has a black card. When he hits that field, everybody's watching and paying attention.
All right. Well, thank you for watching and paying attention today. For all the latest news, where should they go, Niall?
Yeah, so tons of headlines over at blackpressusa.com. So keep up because we're trying to keep up.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.